for them to want to cut Pat Mahomes, I mean, he would have to fall literally off the earth for them to do something like that. So that's why I'm not even counting the first 2 or 3 years. He's going to be there. It's really after that. And the Chiefs gave themselves a way out because eventually they're going to be able to cut him and cut ties if the crazy, decline happened, which I don't think it will. I hope it won't because I want this guy, he does things the right way. He's not out there getting in trouble. He's doing, the practicing. He's already back at practice, and he doesn't take anything for granted. So I want him to get paid, but I want him to have success as well. But how this deal is basically made up is in a lot of roster bonus. Now, some people, have criticized the deal, maybe not criticized, that's probably a bad word to use, but have pointed out, let me just say that, is that maybe he shouldn't have did the 10-year deal. Now, Pat Mahomes is saying that you never know what's going to happen in football, and he's exactly right, because he gets fully guaranteed money, which is probably around about 61.3, I think, so let's just say a little bit over 61 million, and then he gets some other money on top of that, so it'll be almost 200 million. So, like, if everything just went horribly wrong, he's going to get probably 200 million off of that $500 million, so he still will be good. But obviously, he's going to want the rest of that money. Now, some people are saying, the 10-year deal, was that the best route? Because the salary cap keeps increasing. And since 2011, the salary cap has increased 65%. So maybe they were thinking he should go the Darrelle Revis route. And the Darrelle Revis route was Darrelle Revis signed at the most a 2-year deal because he fully believed in himself. He took a calculated risk and it paid off because he would say, you know what? I'll play for you. You give me 21 million or 42, let's just say that, over 2 years, which break down to 21 million. Let me get that, and then we'll come back to the table again. And then the revenue goes up, then he adjusts it, and it's a calculated risk because, again, anything could happen. He could have got injured, but it worked out. So some people were thinking like maybe he should have took a shorter term, deal, maybe more guaranteed money, and then just roll the dice, on it. But here's at the end of the day, this is what Pat Mahomes wanted. He's happy with it. He can deal. I guess he can deal with it at this time, and going forward, we'll see. But I don't think he's going to, try and restructure his deal or anything like that. And this is out of the way. This is done with, so you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to go into the season worrying about an injury or anything of that magnitude. His deal is done. Chiefs fans are happy. He's happy, and then everyone can move on with their lives, and everything should be good. And his agent is definitely happy getting the deal done as well. So, Pat Mahomes, congratulations, brother. Keep up the good work. Keep doing what you're doing. I just hope you don't do that against either my Detroit Lions or the Falcons. And my Detroit Lions, we had them last year. We had them, and we gave him too much time. We had him struggling, and he ended up being Pat Mahomes, and we lost. And they played the Falcons this year, if we get a season, but they play the Falcons this year as well. So just don't do it against my teams, Pat. All right. So now that Pat has gotten his money, what does that mean? What does that mean for the rest of the league? Well, Dak signed his franchise tag, which we were talking about that. But Dak is going to be looking at that. Oh, side note, I'm sorry. Let me go back real quick. The Pat Mahomes thing too. The other thing that I looked at, because we were talking, I firmly thought he was going to get close to $40 million on an average salary. He doesn't get that. So he's getting paid more than Russ eventually. But where I thought it was going to be that $40 million a year, it really doesn't average. It averages out, more. But as far as like the guarantee money and all that stuff, he didn't get to that 40 number. He still don't get paid. Now, for what this means for everybody else is Dak Prescott. He's going to be looking at this deal, obviously. Now, I don't expect Dallas to be like, well, we're going to give him $504, million or anything like that. But I do think for Dallas's situation, it might have increased the number for Dak, or it might have pushed the the needle closer to what Dak want as far as like for a long-term deal. I think really where this probably is going to, who is going to impact the most positively and everything, it's going to be Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is sitting there, and he's already tweeted it out. I think it was Twitter that he put it on social media, but he's already put it out there in the air that he's watching. He's looking. And what are the Texans going to do? Because it is obvious that this team, any of the success that the Houston Texans have had since he's been under center has been because of him. Deshaun Watson. You get rid of his best wide receiver and DeAndre Hopkins. You got some other guys in there like Brandon Cooks and other guys that you're going to be looking at. You got David Johnson. So you still have some talent, around him. But he is the thing that makes that engine run. He is the guy that pulls off some of these Pat Mahomes moves as well. So Deshaun Watson is next. Will he get the same deal? I don't even know if he wants the same deal as Pat Mahomes. I don't know if he wants to be, don't let me be wrong. Yes, he probably does want to be the highest paid quarterback in the league, but 10-year deal, probably doesn't want a 10-year deal. He'll probably go with, something else, maybe 5, 6, 6-year deal, maybe a little bit more guaranteed money or something like that. But Deshaun Watson, from the Pat Mahomes deal, Deshaun Watson is about to get paid himself. Because if Houston is smart, they're going to take care of this guy, because I don't recall them having this much success under any previous quarterback in the past 5 to 10 years, that you really feel good about going into the season with who your quarterback is. You don't have any question marks at quarterback, and that you go into a game knowing anybody that you rival, anybody that you take on, anybody that you meet on that field, you got a shot to walk out of there with a win when Deshaun Watson is your quarterback. So Deshaun Watson, to me, is the biggest, person that's going to, benefit from this. There's other quarterbacks that's going to come along, and they're looking at this, and they're happy too, because there's like, hey, Pat, keep pushing it up. Deshaun, you go in there, push it up. Dak, push it up as well, so the next quarterback can come in there and get paid. So at some point, we'll be rolling around, and it'll be Lamar Jackson's time. What do you think that deal might look like for Lamar? A guy that people said should be a wide receiver or a running back. So this is juicy. So you listen to the Wait a Minute show with your man, Jelani, JB, Bodie, and we are sitting here, and we are talking sports like we always do. So, Washington. So, I think it's been 2 years since I've stopped saying, the nickname for Washington. I just call them Washington, or I call them the Washington football team, somewhere around, that neck of the woods. But I can't even remember the last time I actually said, the nickname for Washington. So I'm trying to continue with that as a respect thing. And this whole thing with the name change, and then they're trying to figure out what name they're going to go with. I was listening to Ben from BS3 Sports, and he was talking about this as well, about some of the names that were out there, and they had the Warriors, which is a trademark name that the owner Dan Snyder has for the team, or he was supposed to use it for another team, but I think he still owns that name, so he could change it to that. Some people have said pigskin, just referring to, the football itself. The one that I liked the most was the Red Tails, which would be a honoring the Tuskegee Airmen and what they were about. And for those who don't know, the reason the Red Tails came on is because on the back actual tail of their airplanes, they painted them red, so people would know those are the Tuskegee Airmen. What was the other one? The Generals. There is a Washington Generals that plays for the Harlem Globetrotters, but the Harlem Globetrotters have said if Washington wants that name, they are willing to give them that name and sell them that name so they can be called the Washington Generals if they want. Like I said, I like the Red Tails. They made a big deal, something about the military, about, respecting military and everything. And if you go with the Red Tails here, that's the military. So you cover all bases. Washington, D.C. is a heavy populated place with African Americans, so it would be something people would be proud of. I know everybody is not on board with this. We had the president talking about it, and the Indians. They were in Cleveland, the baseball team. I'm slipping up, but they were talking about Cleveland, the baseball team. About possibly changing names, and the president was talking about referring to maybe them trying to be politically correct, which I really don't see that being anywhere near what either one of these franchises would be trying to do, and pointed out that nicknames are a strength, not a weakness for these teams, and I respectfully disagree, with that, because nicknames are nicknames. I don't think they do represent, like here in Atlanta, you got the Falcons, but it's a bird, and don't get me wrong, I could see like Philadelphia, the Eagles, or another example, Detroit, my first home city, with the Lions, ain't no Lions rolling around in Michigan, Yeah, the Pistons, because you get that with the, car manufacturing and all that stuff, but not all these things are really named like that to be a strength and, and all that. So I disagree, with that. What this is that this is deemed a disrespectful name to use. And the face that you're putting with it is deemed disrespectful. And that's why it wants to be changed. It's not that anyone got it out for Washington or anything like that. This is about being disrespectful with a term. And the other thing that this is really about a billionaire, or, close to a billionaire, but I think Dan Snyder is a billionaire. But this is about someone who who usually has power, usually has, the last say, and usually has control, having that taken away. And they have problems with it, and money is involved. Don't get it wrong, because Nike, FedEx, and other people have chimed in as far as like requesting for them to do a name change. But this is about money, power, and control as well. And people that are in that position, like a Dan Snyder, don't take too kindly to someone telling them what to do with something that belongs to them. As far as like he owns the company, of the franchise, he's the majority owner, of this franchise. So when something like that happens, then there's going to be pushback. But I don't see people in DC or surrounding areas that are Washington fans, if they change it to whatever the name is, I don't see them saying, we're not going to the game, man. I'm going to stop watching, Washington games because they changed the nickname. There will be some people upset. There will be some people that think they changed it for the wrong reasons. But it needs to be a change. And you're still going to watch football. They're still going to be the same people, and some of these, minority owners, I think it was some minority owners, they want out. If they want out, they want out. Go ahead. Let them out. There's trust me, you can get other minority owners to go ahead and buy their stake at the whatever the cost is for the minority owners that want out now. But I do, agree with, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. If you do it, you got to come up with a name that's right. And then all of this will be good. But, to me, I just really think that this thing is about a little bit of power and all that stuff. And the other thing, with this too, I think